I'm pretty excited about this. This is kind of the last detail that our F100 build needed, was a working speedometer. And instead of fighting with cables and stuff and trying to make a GM transmission to an OE Ford gauge, which I love the look of that OE Ford gauge in these trucks, I went ahead and ordered the Classic Instruments FT610. This is the E, kind of matches like factory original. I think they make them in like an all black and a white and like a beige. I don't know, you guys can look that up yourself. I ordered it from CJ Pony Parts, and apparently it shipped directly from Classic Instruments, which it was like $90 cheaper to order it from CJ than what they had it listed on Classic's website, but yet they're the ones that shipped it out anyway. Let's get to it. You guys will see it the same time I do. Alright. Paper. Nice magazine. All Chevy Performance. I guess someone didn't look and see what part number this was for when they packed this magazine in this box. Alright. Wait, make sure we got the right part number here before we get too excited. FT610E. Yes. Go. Stickers. Stickers. Warranty, 7-year, lifetime for 20 bucks. That's pretty good, depending on how long you plan on living. Instructions, we'll look at those later when something doesn't work right. And there's our beautiful gauge. That thing looks sweet. This excites me right off the bat because I know it's going to allow me to get all my wiring done without this in the way and then just plug it in. Okay, let's see what comes in the box. This looks very much like an oil pressure sending unit to me, with plenty of adapters, even like a little 45-degree angle. I guess probably get it out from underneath your, well, I don't know. Where's it at in Fords? So that would maybe help me to understand why they sent these adapters. There's a mount bracket, which it looks like it just pins it into the back side. And then this little button should be for reset. And also sometimes it helps when you program your speedometer, I think, when you mark it for like 1 mile, so it knows how to calibrate. Dad's Root Beer Candy. Alright, FD adapter, SN17. So, this is a speedometer drive to cable. So, certainly aren't going to be needing that. No name on this one. Oh, okay. So this goes on this end of it. Then this hooks up here and then wires it to the gauge itself, or the wiring harness, which I haven't seen much of one. What plugs in here? I guess if they're going to take forever to get it shipped, at least they didn't have to send all the parts. This is 2 days later now, by the way. I had to wait till the next day because it was in the evening, and I called Classic Instruments and gave them that order number that was drop shipped.
Unknown caller.
Oh. So yeah, CJ Pony Parts just had Classic Instruments drop shipped this box that was missing the parts. So I just went right to the source and called Classic Instruments the next day and told them what was missing. And they said they would send out the additional parts. And then I asked about getting them next day because at that point it's going to be like 10 days from the day that I ordered it from the time I got it. And they said I could split the difference in the price for regular freight or next day air. So I was like, whatever, here's my credit card number. Then they charged me $65 to ship these two parts in a bubble wrap envelope. So I called them and they said, yeah, that was probably a mistake on their part and they're gonna make an adjustment. So I hope that happens. Anyway, on to the install. Oh, by the way, that billet part, the SN16 components that I showed you earlier, that actually does thread into my transmission. So I can just run the cord to that from my 700 R4 to feed the speed sensor side of this new gauge without buying a GPS thing. And those are kind of janky. They kind of hit and miss in my experience. So I kind of like having this one driven. Basically it's mechanical to digital. I like it. We'll see how it works. I saved you guys the trouble of watching my fast forward stuff to get all these wires ran. There's 15 of them that need to be hooked up. This is that speed sensor that goes down to the transmission. I fed it up with the rest of the wiring harness. It's all connected. I've got these crimped. I haven't hit the heat shrink on them yet until I make sure everything works. But I only hooked up 14 of them because I don't need another oil pressure gauge because I've already got two. I don't need a third one and I don't have a wire for it from the Holley. The only output we have from the Holley is the tach. So that's really what we're hoping to gain, as well as the speedometer. I don't even know, I guess we just plug it in, turn it on, and see what happens. Oh, okay. Air conditioner's wide open. Turn signal. Yeah, the light ring works. High beam indicator works. I'm not sure if you guys can see that or not, but it works. Trust me. Shows voltage right there at 12. Does not show fuel, so that could be a problem. Tach. All right, well, I appreciate the help, my friend. Thanks for calling me back. All right, have a good weekend, Jake. All right, bye. That was Jake, not from State Farm, but from Classic Instruments. And we owned it out, and it's reading 76.3, which is pretty much empty. Apparently, everything works. So now let's put it together and start dealing with calibrating the speedometer. Before I put this together, I wanted to point out to you guys, this gauge goes in with like this clamping bracket into the dash panel or the insert, which would leave these four mounting holes empty. So this isn't really like a direct fit gauge for this model truck specifically, but it does fit in the hole. So what I'm doing is I'm going to reuse the screws and just put some of these what we call U-nuts in behind them, and then just tighten them down so the screw holes still looks filled. Alright, so the gauge is in. I felt like trigonometry trying to program this thing. It's press and hold, start the car, let off, tap, go 30, tap, or press and hold, tap to 8,000, press and hold. Like there's this whole ridiculous process. We've got the speedometer programmed. It's correctly reading 75 miles an hour according to our phone. But the turn signal indicators are staying on. Maybe they'll reset when we shut the truck off. On a side note, the reason it was reading empty is it ain't got no gas in it. But apparently the gauge is set up to read just below full when you're full and below empty when you run out. So you just kind of, I guess, have to keep in mind that pointer is just sort of located out of range a little bit. So you look at the gauge, looks awesome, doing what it's supposed to do, except not have the turn signal lights lit up. But I think it looks dope. We're on our way to streetcar takeover. Appreciate you guys watching. I hope this was helpful for any of you who are planning on buying one of these $1,000 units, because that was my experience. It was quite a roller coaster. See you later.